Ever wondered how some people manage to get back on their feet after a financial disaster? Well, let's talk about that. Be sure to stick around until the end so you can understand how to pay pennies on the dollar on your unsecured debt. Picture bankruptcy, a legal process that helps folks reorganize their debt. Yeah, it's a big word, but it's not all doom and gloom. There are different types out there, and today we'll focus on one in particular, Chapter 13. Now here's the kicker. What if we told you there's a way to pay pennies on the dollar for your debt? Sounds like a dream, doesn't it? Meet John, a regular guy from Alabama who found himself in a financial pickle. John's story begins like many others. He had a steady job, a mortgage, and a growing family. But unexpected medical expenses and a sudden job loss knocked him off his financial footing. His debt started piling up, and before he knew it, he was sinking in a sea of bills he couldn't pay. John faced a tough decision, one that many Americans grapple with daily. Should he continue struggling, trying to keep his head above water, or should he consider filing for bankruptcy? After much thought and sleepless nights, John chose the latter. But not just any bankruptcy, he opted for Chapter 13. So, why Chapter 13? Well, unlike Chapter 7, which liquidates your assets to pay off debts, Chapter 13 allows you to keep your property and pay off your debts over a 3 to 5 year period. This was appealing to John, who wanted to keep his family home and had a steady income to make regular payments. John sought the help of a bankruptcy attorney, who guided him through the complex process. Together, they crafted a repayment plan which proposed to pay his creditors pennies on the dollar. This plan was presented to the court and after a few modifications, was approved. It wasn't easy. John had to adhere to a strict budget, making sure every cent was accounted for. He had to prioritize his spending, cutting out unnecessary expenses. There were times when he wanted to throw in the towel, but he knew he had to stick it out for the sake of his family. After 5 long years, John emerged from Chapter 13 bankruptcy. His debts were dramatically reduced, and he was back on his feet financially. He had learned valuable lessons about budgeting and financial planning that would guide him in his future endeavors. John's story is not unique, but his solution might be surprising to many. And remember, bankruptcy is not a failure, but a second chance at financial stability and peace of mind. So, how did John manage to pay only pennies on the dollar for his debt? Well, let's dive into the fascinating process of Chapter 13 bankruptcy. Chapter 13. Bankruptcy, also known as a wage earner's plan, allows individuals with regular income to develop a plan to repay all or part of their debts. In John's case, he proposed a repayment plan that offered to pay off his debts over 3 to 5 years. This is the first step in the Chapter 13 process, creating a repayment plan. Now, this plan doesn't just magically get approved. It has to go through a confirmation hearing in a bankruptcy court. The judge, after considering factors such as John's income, living expenses, and the type of debt, approved John's plan. And voila! John was now on a structured path to chip away at his mountain of debt. But here's where Chapter 13 gets even more interesting. It can help individuals keep their property. As long as John sticks to the terms of his repayment plan, his property is protected. Yes, that's right. John didn't lose his house or his car. Instead, he got to keep them while working on his debt situation. Now, you might be wondering, how much debt did John actually manage to discharge? Well, after completing all payments under his plan, John's remaining dischargeable debt was wiped clean. This included credit card debt, medical bills, and personal loans. However, it's important to note that not all types of debt can be discharged. For example, alimony, child support, and certain tax obligations typically can't be wiped out in bankruptcy. So as you can see, Chapter 13 bankruptcy isn't the end of the world. In fact, it can be the beginning of a new debt-free life. But why would anyone choose to file for bankruptcy? Isn't that just admitting defeat? You may ask. Well, let's break it down. Filing for Chapter 13 bankruptcy may sound daunting, but it actually offers a host of benefits, particularly for those who are struggling to keep their heads above water financially. Firstly, Chapter 13. Bankruptcy is a debt repayment plan, not a process of liquidation. This means you get to keep your property while you work out a plan to repay your debts. Imagine being able to stay in your own home, keep your car, and retain your personal belongings. all while working to clear your financial slate. Secondly, it offers the possibility of reducing your debts. Depending on your income, expenses, and the types of debt you have, you may not have to repay all your unsecured debts in full. In fact, some filers end up paying just pennies on the dollar. Lastly, Chapter 13. Bankruptcy offers a chance to start fresh financially. It's a reset button for your finances, giving you the opportunity to restructure your debt, and in some cases, even discharge some of it completely. So, in essence, filing for Chapter 13 bankruptcy isn't about admitting defeat. It's about taking control. It's about making a strategic move to protect your assets and secure your financial future. Bankruptcy isn't a failure. It's an opportunity to regain control of your financial future. If John's story resonates with you, or if you know someone who might benefit from this information, we have a simple request. We've spent time understanding the ins and outs of Chapter 13 bankruptcy, and we've seen how it can provide a lifeline for folks like John, who are grappling with financial challenges. If this video has shed some light on the topic for you, would you do us a favor? Give us a thumbs up. This small action helps us reach more people who might be in need of this information. And if you're eager to learn more about legal matters that affect your everyday life, consider subscribing to our channel. Here at Greystone Legal Clinic, we are committed to making complex legal issues understandable for everyone. And finally, if you know someone who might find this video helpful, pass it along. Remember, you're not alone in your financial struggles. Together, we can move towards a brighter financial future. So hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and share this video with your friends. Until next time, this is Greystone Legal Clinic, signing off.